Welcome to Kevin and Brian's Horror Drive-In Theater Podcast. I'm Kevin.
I'm Brian, and love is in the air this week.
It's that special holiday where you give someone your heart.
Or take theirs by force if they won't give it to you.
Yes, Valentine's Day is this week.
Ooh.
Scary holiday.
So, after some news, we'll cover the drive-in classic Valentine from 2001, followed by our discussion of two short films, My Sweet Valentine and Valentine's Die. And
I see what they did there with the name.
Valentine's Die, yes. And a little more recent, but still not quite new horror film, My Bloody Valentine, the 3D remake from 2009. Open that box of chocolates, pour yourself some wine, and relax. Here we go. First up, the news. The new horror series, Welcome to Daisyland, will debut its first episode February 14th, 2019 on the Black Box TV channel on YouTube. From the About page on their website, Welcome to Daisyland is a horror anthology series set behind the gates of the Daisyland Carnival, a music and mayhem shadow show. The carnival is a small but legendary one that began its run sometime in the early 1970s. No one knows for sure exactly when, only that it has appeared every fall across the country in a series of vacant lots and overgrown fields, far from the reach of the city lights and the law. Their website has trailers, behind-the-scenes teasers, and lots more information about the show. This definitely looks like it's worth checking out.
Their website really has a lot of stuff on it. A lot of short clips and behind the scenes, how they made different things, and different teasers about different characters. Looks freaky.
So what is a music and mayhem show?
There's music and mayhem. A lot of rock and roll. Actually, it sounds like it's going to have a really good soundtrack. There's a lot of rock on the website, hints of the music.
So this is a historical thing or a modern day?
Modern. Yeah, it's modern day. Oh, set in the modern day, yeah. Been around a while, traveling under mysterious circumstances.
Did you see the old TV series from HBO, Carnival?
It made me think of that a little bit.
And maybe a little bit of American Horror Story Freak Show?
Yep, some of that thrown in, too.
Nothing better than a good
from
carnival
those, I think. Yeah.
Freak you out.
Yeah, it looks good. I think it's worth watching. And free on YouTube. I knew that somebody had to have done it. It's our second piece of news. Candy.com sells what they proclaim to be the world's largest gummy candy heart. It's life-size and weighs in at 1 3/4 pounds of chewy cherry gummy goodness. Imagine getting one of those and loading it up with some fake blood and walk around the park with a bunch of your friends. And
it needs to be like juice-filled or something.
No, it's solid all the way through. That's a lot of sugar, a lot of candy.
These are cheaper on bulk orders if you want to give one to all your friends. Add a little fake blood and gnaw and slurp to your heart's content. Thing looks pretty real.
Yeah. Well, it's shows, somebody squishing,
squishing
it in their
it,
hand.
yeah.
Well, it's sort of like a stress ball kind of thing, too. Next up.
Happy Death Day to You gets a 2019 Valentine's release with its official opening February 13th, 2019. This sequel to the 2017 film Happy Death Day promises more of the same dark humor, scares, and gore that made the first one a pretty solid hit.
Although the gore was pretty tame, actually, because it was PG-13. And there were a lot of implied violence and implied gore, but violent
that can be
enough.
Good.
Yeah, violent enough. Certainly a good movie.
Gore is fun, but it's not always needed.
But it wasn't R.
In this one, the character Tree is transported back to the repeating day, where she dies over and over again. Only this time there are friends stuck in the loop with her.
And there is a warning: if you watch the trailer, which is a good trailer, there is a serious spoiler for the first movie. They give away who did it in the first movie, in the trailer for this movie.
So if you didn't watch the first movie yet and you'll want to, watch that before the trailer.
And it really looks like you would want to see the first one first. That you'd miss a lot, I think, if you haven't seen the first one.
And that's kind of the murder-based Groundhog Day movie.
It is, yeah. Yeah, she gets killed over and over, wakes up in the morning again, has to do it again, has to figure out who is doing it to her, and every time she tries to change it to fix it, it doesn't work, it doesn't stay fixed.
How many variations of this have you seen since Groundhog Day? And they just never get old.
They don't.
Keep bringing this plot back over and over and over.
It's a good one that works. It's entertaining.
Fourth story this time. A trailer for the new Child's Play movie for 2019 has been unboxed.
I see what you did there. Unboxed.
And it looks really awesome. This one looks like they're going back to the beginning of things for a fresh reboot. It's a little bit of a teaser, and Chucky is pretty well hidden in this trailer, but it's enough to get you hooked.
It's not clear this time if there's a supernatural element even, because it looks really science fiction-y. This time the Chucky dolls are robots and mass-produced as the buddies for children that are robot companions.
So instead of being possessed by a serial killer, this may go more of a Terminator route?
Maybe.
We'll see.
Or maybe he gets into the system and he can network and go from Chucky to Chucky instead of just being restricted to one doll. That could be terrifying.
Yeah, this new trailer is definitely more of a teaser. Mm-hmm. You see who it is, and you see that there's more technology involved, but other than that, we don't really know what's going on yet.
And it's so science fiction-y that they've got a really cool tie-in website that's caslincorp.com.
Caslin with a K. K-A-S-L-A-N Corp.com.
And we put a link in the notes too, but it has the trailer, but it also has the tech specifications for Chucky and the other products that the company makes. And if you scroll down, it looks just like a real tech website, and it's got a message from the founder, Mr. Caslin himself. They did a really nice job with it. It's worth checking out.
Hello, friends. My name is Henry Caslin, founder of the Caslin Corporation. At Caslin, we take great pride in our unwavering focus on building revolutionary technology to create a positive impact. We set out to develop the greatest and most interactive toy on the market, but in doing so, we created something far more special. Every child is important to us, and every child deserves a companion, a friend that will never let you down. It's my great honor to introduce you to our most innovative product to date, Buddy. He's more than a toy. He's your best friend.
He's your friend to the end.
And it's Buddy, not Chucky?
No,
or maybe the whole line of toys are the buddies.
Yeah, the whole line of them are the buddies.
Like they used to be the good guys.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're the buddies. Okay, looking forward to that. Chucky's always one of my favorites.
And our fifth item for today is for serious fans and collectors of The Walking Dead. AMC's official merchandising has just released. It's a limited edition resin statue of Negan in action. He's head bashing a walker and a couple more that he's fighting off. And it can be yours for only $449.95. Limited.
I think I heard something wrong there. How many numbers was that?
That's just a nickel under $450. Limited edition to only 1,000 of these statues. But what amazed me is the amount of stuff that AMC has for The Walking Dead on their website for sale. Just statues and toys and shirts and lamps, and they have gone nuts on the merchandising.
Series is about over. Time to cash in.
But if they sell 1,000 of those at $450, that's
almost $500,000 of Negans.
That's just for those one thing. Wow.
Okay, so even if you don't buy, it's a fun site to poke around in. Just don't get bit. For our first movie this time, we're going to watch the 2001 film Valentine.
Directed by Jamie Blanks, who also did Urban Legend from 1998.
Very neat.
Mm-hmm.
This one stars Denise Richards, David Boreanaz, and Marley Shelton.
That's how you say his last name? I can never get that right.
Boreanaz.
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 I got the first half right.
Okay. David.
The guy from Angel.
David. Angel. Yes.
And Bones and Buffy and those shows.
And somebody at one point in the movie says, "You're no angel." And I kind of snickered.
2001, Angel was still going on at that time.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was the year Buffy ended. Angel was still running.
Yeah, it was. And I guess he filmed his stuff very quickly, too. His was only done in 2 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah.
And he's in the movie a lot. He's
it's not a little
one of the
part.
main characters, yeah.
Okay, so this one starts out. This is going to be an older movie, so we're going to have a little more spoilers in this one.
Spoil the heck out of it.
Starts out in a little flashback from 1988. It's the junior high school dance, and no one will dance with poor little Jeremy. He asks Shelley, and she says, "Go away." He asks Paige, and she says, "Get lost."
Oh, she says, "I'd rather be boiled alive."
Oh, yeah, they all say
Which
something
I thought
specific.
was, knowing the kind of movie we're going into, I was thinking, that's a foreshadowing.
Oddly specific. So he asks 4 or 5 girls, and they all tell him what to go do with himself. And finally, he asks the fat girl, Dorothy, who's almost as unpopular as he is. And she says, "Yes, I'll dance with you." And they're under the bleachers kissing when they get caught by a bunch of bullies from the school who make fun of him, make Dorothy accuse him of attacking her, and then they pour Kool-Aid all over him, sort of like
and they
junior high Carrie.
Strip him down to his underwear and drag him out to be humiliated in front of everybody.
Total junior high school humiliation, but we've all been there, right?
Not that bad.
Not that bad?
Not
Okay.
that bad. That's pretty bad. They're harsh on him.
Yeah, and not surprisingly, Jeremy holds a grudge. Meanwhile, flash forward 13 years later.
They're young ladies now. And young Shelley is on a date that's going badly. He's kind of a jerk. His name's Jason.
Okay, she not blows off Jason. She dumps
She
Jason
doesn't
quite
blow off
rudely.
Jason. Yes.
Jason's kind of unhappy that he didn't get blown off, but alone.
No, she goes to medical school. She's,
Okay, start that part over.
which part?
After the date, Shelley goes back to the office, which in her case is medical school.
Where she's about to perform an autopsy on a donor cadaver, for practice.
Because they all do that at night in the dark.
Yeah, that was my
Alone.
thought. Why, the building's deserted, and she's going to go there and do this at night alone.
I know back in the day, I always liked to go to school at night and cut open the dead bodies, but they never let me do that.
Well, in horror movies, they do things like that.
But she hears noises outside the autopsy room. She goes to investigate and finds a Valentine's Day card. This is not your typical Hallmark card.
Handmade, personalized.
The journey of love is an arduous trek. My love for you grows as you bleed from your neck. And then there's a little pull-out tab that makes a knife stick into her neck, which is kind of a... I'd like to buy that card.
Somebody did a lot of work on the cards in this.
Yeah.
They're really neat.
So she thought that was pretty creepy, but she goes back to work, goes in, pulls out her knife, gets ready to cut into the belly of the corpse, and it breathes. She screams and runs away a little bit, and then when she looks back, the body's gone.
See, what the killer did was switch himself with Chad, the cadaver, and stuck Chad in the cabinet. And
Probably a good thing
hid
she
under
didn't
the
cut
sheet.
into him anyway.
Yeah.
Would have been a
Since
short movie.
Since she had a scalpel in her hand, but no, she screams and runs and gets chased. And
She falls down a lot and turns around and looks behind her and sees this guy in a trench coat wearing a Cupid mask. She runs into the dead body storage room, and he stabs each of the dead bodies one at a time.
until there's
They're
only
hiding
one
in body.
left.
They're all in body bags.
And then there's only one left he hasn't tried, and it's her.
And he slits her throat, and she's dead. Boom.
Yeah, boom. First death. Gets
Okay.
right to it.
Next day, Paige and Kate, 2 of those little girls from the beginning, are at a speed dating place where they hear about the murder. The next day, they go to the funeral and meet up with this guy, Adam, who's now a reporter. And he wants to go out with Kate, but Kate knows this guy's an alcoholic and doesn't want to get too attached. And
Well, they dated for a while.
They
and
did,
and
yeah.
they're in a cooling off period. But he drank too much, and so they're taking some time off. But
Yeah.
he was there to support her at the funeral, and he seems like a really nice guy.
And also at the funeral is this detective. Does this guy ever play anybody who's not a detective or a soldier? Or
That's all he ever plays.
like a halfway sleazy cop every time?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Some kind of minor authority figure.
Anyway, the detective introduces himself and they talk a little bit about what happened to Shelley, but nobody really cares. They move on.
They don't really mention her again.
It's done.
They weren't really that broke up, but they hadn't seen her in a while too. So, but really, it was like, yeah, she's dead. Okay, moving on.
Well, they don't suspect that they're targets yet.
No.
Okay, so first up, Dorothy goes home and she finds a card waiting too. Roses are red, violets are blue. They'll need dental records to identify you.
Nice.
Nice, yes.
Another cool homemade card, though.
And her friend Campbell comes in and he tells her he needs a place to stay.
Well, Dorothy's from a rich family, and it's a big old house, and she orders the maid to fix him up a guest room.
And then we get to meet Dorothy's father and, younger than she is, mother-in-law, stepmother.
And we never see him again after that.
That whole thread, just that scene went nowhere for no purpose whatsoever.
Yeah, it was, her not getting along with her stepmother, who was basically the same age as she was. And
we never see the father or the stepmother again.
Never
they don't
again.
die. They don't do anything. Oh, well, they're gone.
They went away, I guess, yeah. In the room having sex, I don't know. Yeah.
Later, Kate, one of the other girls, is taking a shower and the water goes off. She gets out of the shower and hears the elevator door opening and closing. Ping, ping, ping. She goes and checks it out, and there's a Cupid mask stuck in the elevator door.
And her creepy neighbor who hits on her.
He is quite the creep.
Yeah, he's kind of off.
He's kind of poetic, now that you mention it.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing his little rhyming thing. Could he be a card writer?
He's a suspect.
He could be. Lily and Paige, the final two girls, get a box of chocolates delivered to their door.
Yummy.
They open it up, and guess what's inside?
Worms.
Well, I was going to go
Maggots.
with a card, but yeah, there's maggot-filled chocolate.
Yeah, okay, there's a card first, though. Yeah.
'Tis a well-known fact that beauty is skin deep. Savor the taste, you are what you eat.
And it's maggoty chocolates.
Yeah. And at this point, they start pointing out that all three of these cards were signed by somebody J.M.
And they start to put together, could it be Jeremy? Jeremy Milton from school?
It could be. No evidence of that, but that's the only name they can think of. Later on, there's a party. These people go to a lot of parties.
They do. They had a fun life.
Where pretty much all the characters we've seen so far show up and intermingle. The girls start talking, and they connect the Cupid mask with Jeremy Melton from the 6th grade. These women, I noticed about this point, are all very judging, critical, stuck-up snobs.
Yeah.
And this is demonstrated over and over with all their interactions with the men at the party, and the speed dating, and the drunken boyfriend, and the roommate. These girls almost deserve what they get.
Almost.
I kind of think the director is pushing us to root for the villain on this one, maybe.
Almost, yeah. Yeah, they weren't good girls.
They were not even nice.
Yeah, kind of nasty.
And at the party, nobody sees this, but Lily gets shot by Cupid with a couple of arrows.
Which takes
Literally.
place in a very cool scene, to a very cool setting. It's an art exhibit. And yeah, you should see that for yourself.
So if you ever wanted to get shot by Cupid's arrows, yeah, you probably don't.
No, it hurts.
Kate meets up with Adam, the drunken reporter, and they talk about what's been going on. He asks her out again, but she won't cooperate because she thinks he's been drinking, or she's afraid he will. Dorothy then admits to the two remaining girls, that Jeremy, back in 6th grade, didn't really attack her.
She just said that. And she feels bad, kind of. But
Because, she does feel bad because Jeremy ended up going to reform school and spending time in a mental institution because of what she did to him.
Yeah, they find this out from the cop, from the detective.
Yeah, I'd probably want revenge. But the detective then brings in all the girls for more questioning. And, of course, Mr. Sleazy Detective hits on Paige.
Has a special one-on-one interview with Paige.
Yeah, because, cops are like that, right?
Yeah.
Not typically.
Yeah.
Cupid then kills Kate's neighbor with an iron for no particular reason. He was just there.
Well, it was Kate's neighbor.
Okay.
Could have been Kate at that point.
Wasn't.
Could have been. Well, we didn't know that.
He went into the neighbor's apartment and killed him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Could have been Kate.
In
Could have been
somebody else's
anybody at that
apartment.
point.
All right,
Yeah.
all right, whatever.
Yeah.
In the meantime, they arrest Jason Marquette, who's
JM.
JM, who is the blind date from the very first scene.
Oh, and he showed up at that other party, too.
He was at the
keeps popping
party,
up,
and he's definitely a creep,
and he's a suspect.
and he's got the right initials.
And so, yeah, we're pretty sure that the detective is on the case.
Upstairs, Dorothy and Campbell have sex.
Hmm.
Boom, that's out of nowhere.
Yeah, it escalated quickly.
Shortly thereafter, Campbell goes into the basement to relight the pilot light on the water heater.
And Campbell's kind of a
He's an internet
con
crook.
artist.
Yeah,
He's a con artist.
He's ripped off some people, and in the process of ripping off Dorothy, but she doesn't realize
She
it.
doesn't know that. So she dodges the bullet, so to speak, when he goes to light the pilot light, and he's no longer a suspect because he gets an axe in the back.
Cupid has an axe to grind.
Mm-hmm. The list of suspects grows steadily narrower throughout it.
But now it's time for the big Valentine's Day party. Paige is there with Brian, another guy from speed dating. Kate is there with Adam, and Dorothy is alone since Campbell has vanished. Paige ties Brian to the bed, and she pours candle wax on him and leaves him there.
Well, there was kind of a reason leading up to that, too, though, because he gets her up to the bedroom and drops his pants, and she's like, what? He's like, well, come on, baby, wax it.
Like she wasn't expecting that very thing, though?
Well, yeah. Well, he says he's got a surprise to show her. Like, what do you think the surprise is going to be? Duh. You know? But she's not amused, and that's why she ties him to the bed. And he thinks he's going to get some kinky stuff, and he does, but not like he thinks. You know? So she waxes it.
And you know what? We never see him again.
We never do.
The killer doesn't come in and kill the guy. He doesn't get out and run into something and die. Nothing happens to him. Maybe he's still in that bed today.
See, I think they should have done an after credits scene with him. You know, like maybe showing the door, you know, closed. Like, Paige, are you coming back? Hello, I forgive you.
So as you can see, this story already has a couple of dangling plot lines that really just never get wrapped up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so a little later on, Cupid stabs Dorothy's maid, and the woman who has been accusing Campbell of being a thief gets impaled on a piece of glass. Detective Vaughn then calls and tells them they had to let Marquette go.
And he could be anywhere. He could be at your party.
He could be
I'm
the
on
guy
my
who's just
way.
been killing everyone.
I'm on my way. You know, stay safe.
Kate then yells at Adam for drinking. She catches him in the act. He's drinking out of the bottle.
Blup, 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 blup.
Yep. Paige gets into the hot tub and gets locked in and electrocuted.
Yeah.
That
gruesome.
came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Dorothy then suggests that Adam might be JM, and Kate doesn't believe it. Dorothy's a little suspicious.
Kate suspects that Campbell could be. She's done. Like,
Nobody knows Campbell's
that
dead.
Campbell's dead.
He's
but
still in the basement
they're,
somewhere.
you know, Kate is saying, well, yeah, if you think it's Adam, well, it could be Campbell. And so they get in a kind of a girl argument.
Yeah, and Dorothy goes on about, I was the fat girl, and she's jealous of the other three all along. And Kate says, where did this come from? Kate then calls the detective, but finds him dead.
Well, she hears the phone ringing. Ring, 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 as she's, you know, and then she follows the ringing noise, and, well,
The
that's
fakest looking
detective.
rubber head you've ever seen floats up in the pond.
That wasn't a very good special effect.
Along with the head in the pond, though, she sees a note that she had given to Adam not too long before.
So
Did he drop it when he was putting the head in the lake? We don't know. Probably. Looks like it. So Kate runs into Adam, and he kind of forces them to dance. He never gets to dance. Adam says he would never hurt her. Of course, at this point, she knows about the note. She knows he's the killer, or at least thinks so.
And a side note here, too. At this point, when Paige gets electrocuted in the hot tub, that knocks out the power to the house. And it's this huge crowd, this party going on.
Hundreds of people.
And Dorothy does say, oh, well, they're leaving awful quick. And they do.
Instantly.
It's like, boom. And
All of them.
everybody. Nobody is there except Kate and Adam.
Nobody finds any of the dead bodies. Nobody says goodnight. They all, boom, they're just gone.
And suddenly it's a big old empty house with Adam and Kate chasing each other.
But Adam says he would never hurt her. But she doesn't believe him and knees him in the groin and runs for it. She then hits him with a bottle and grabs a gun from a display case. At this point, Cupid jumps on her out of nowhere, and she drops the gun as they roll down the steps.
And then Cupid sits up, and you think,
Because, you know, after they fall down, they always get up again.
oh, yeah, yeah, and Cupid's going to get her, and then blam, 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 Adam shoots Cupid.
Adam found the gun, grabbed the gun, and shoots Cupid dead.
And they pull the mask off, and
It's
Dorothy. Except,
As
Is
Adam
it?
and Kate profess their love for each other, Adam gets a nosebleed, which is something the killer had done repeatedly, and this shows us that he's the real J.M.
I guess, because right at the beginning with the kid getting abused, he had a nosebleed, always from the same nostril, the right nostril. And the killer kept bleeding, having a nosebleed out of his mask. Adam never did any other time, but then just at the end,
Well, that would have spoiled it if we saw Adam having a nosebleed.
yeah. But then at the end, okay, Adam had a nosebleed, so that must mean that he was the killer, I think. But what about Dorothy? Dorothy, Kate opened a door, and Dorothy was in the full garb of the killer with the mask on,
But
full
she
head
attacked
mask.
her.
She attacked her.
It's
And
not
that-
like she was back there tied up and gagged.
Yeah,
or mistaken identity. No.
no. And she fell on her, and they both stumbled, and they rolled down the stairs. And when they, at no point did Dorothy say, "Hey, Kate, it's me. I'm not. Don't kill me," or it's not really me, or and then, but why was she all dressed up like that then, and why'd she pounce on Kate?
Well, the only thing I can think of is maybe they were in it together. She felt bad for getting him sent to reform school, and maybe it was even her idea, and they traded off.
That's it. They were both doing it.
But they never said that.
No.
It was obvious at the end that
Oh.
Adam was the nosebleed guy.
But Dorothy was doing it some of the time too.
Maybe.
That explains it.
Although that would have been a little clearer if Adam had been in the room when someone died.
If there was any indication of that beforehand, yeah.
Yeah. That kind of just came out of nowhere there.
I was unsatisfied by this movie. Unsatisfied by the ending.
It's not clear what happened.
Yeah.
Okay, well, there's a lot of characters in this film. Everybody's got a boyfriend. Everybody's got a girlfriend. There were neighbors and scam artists and parents and all cops. And there are a lot of different people in this.
Mm-hmm.
And for the first hour and a half, I had trouble telling the three blondes apart.
Part of the problem initially,
Lily,
especially, they didn't use
Kate,
their names enough.
Dorothy. I mean, eventually I could tell Kate and Dorothy apart, but Lily and Kate,
They were in the same
Very
demographic.
similar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they didn't use their names enough to.
Also, there's a whole nother subplot that didn't go anywhere about Campbell stealing from some woman investor. And eventually the investor came to the party and she got killed too.
I guess that was just
But
the
that whole
reason to get
plot
her
was
there.
just unnecessary.
Yeah. All in all, it wasn't great writing.
It had some creative deaths. It was entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not a real smart movie.
The ending unsatisfying and unclear.
Yeah. I'll
What do
give
you
it a
give it?
5 out of 10.
I think I'd only give this one a 4,
Okay.
maybe a 3.5.
It's not terrible, but it could be a lot better.
Yeah, it could.
Okay, so if you see that on the DVD somewhere, pick it up and take a look if you like it. Or give it to your Valentine for Valentine's Day.
What a sweet romantic gift.
Speaking of sweet romantic gifts, we've got a couple of shorts this week. 2 of them.
We saw one called My Sweet Valentine. It's only a minute long,
That's 1 sweet minute.
and it is, for a minute, it's good.
Not a lot of story can happen in a minute.
Not a lot you can do in a minute, but they do.
It's a girl sitting at a table eating her dinner that her boyfriend supposedly made her.
For Valentine's, it's Valentine's.
And she smiles and she's happy and she comments that everything is so easy with you. No arguments.
We should leave it at that with no spoilers.
Yeah, that's about the first 40 seconds of the thing. So you're going to have to watch the rest.
But they're eating and drinking and having dinner together.
Not a lot of plot in 1 minute, but it's worth taking a look at.
The next one is very much a dark comedy called Valentine's Die.
This one's about 5 minutes long. And this guy walks in the door. He's in a hurry for some reason and catches his girlfriend with, I don't know, is it his brother or a friend? We're not really clear.
I think just a friend.
I thought at first they were twins.
No,
But I don't think
yeah,
so.
just a friend, I think.
And, of course, the two are on the couch making out when he comes in. And he freaks out because they're cheating on him. he says they have to go before Cupid comes and kills them. And they're like, what? That's crazy.
As the one guy leaves.
The boyfriend, he's all embarrassed for cheating with the girlfriend, and he starts backing out the door, and bam, an arrow comes out his mouth. He's been shot in the back of the head by Cupid.
Cupid!
And this is the weirdest Cupid ever.
It's this floating, animated
If you've ever seen like a
creature.
Cupid statue or figure to hang on your wall, you know, the baby with the arrow,
cherub-like.
cherub-like, this is one of those. It looks like a party decoration that someone's moving around on a string.
But it's really funny.
It's really hokey
It's
and
really
it's
dark.
really good. It's funny.
The hokiness of it works because it's so funny.
And the rest of the time is spent with the couple battling Cupid. And Cupid might win. Maybe they'll win. They have a few back and forths together.
It's like Cupid punishes, it's kind of like Santa brings coal for the bad boys and girls.
Cupid is
kills
punishing the
cheaters.
cheaters.
Uh-huh. Yep, don't cheat or Cupid will punish you. Definitely worth checking out.
Okay, so 2 little short Valentine's things. Give you a total of 6 minutes on YouTube. The links will be in the show notes like usual. So did we see anything else?
We saw My Bloody Valentine.
From 1981? That's cool.
No, that's what we thought we were going to see, but we ended up seeing the 2009 version.
Oh, the remake in
The
3D.
remake in 3D.
Yeah,
And
we didn't see it in 3D.
And I thought that I had, but no, I was thinking of some other movie that I saw around that time in 3D. So neither of us had seen this version before.
This one's 2009, My Bloody Valentine 3D. This one stars Jensen Ackles from Supernatural.
And it's still fine in 2D.
Oh, yeah, it's good.
But it was funny because throughout it, you can see clear effects where things are coming right at the screen where they deliberately made it, for the 3D to enhance, things being thrown. And
It looks like it would have been
flying
good in 3D. It had some definitely splattery things at you.
Yeah.
Jensen Ackles from Supernatural, Jamie King, and Kerr Smith. And a few other faces that you might recognize from some other movies.
This movie crams more into the first opening, I think, than I've seen in a long time.
It's a sort of a montage of old newspapers.
Exposition with the voiceover of a reporter talking about the events.
6 men were trapped in the Valentine's Day mine collapse. A little later on, they tell us 5 miners died, 1 survived. Another headline, the mine owner's son was at fault.
Tom Hanniger, who is Jensen.
The son of the owner, the mine owner, yeah.
It was accidental, but he screwed up and he caused the mine accident that led to the collapse. But
And
wait, there's more.
The final headline says, the survivor killed the others to conserve his own heir.
There were multiple guys trapped together and the one killed the others.
Yeah, there were 6 of them, then there was only 1, and he killed the others. But that's okay because he's in a coma. He's not going to hurt anyone now.
He was the only sort of survivor. And Tom got in some trouble, of course, because it was his fault, but they realized it was an accident. So,
Yeah, genuinely was an accident. He didn't do anything intentional. Okay, so that was a year ago. We jump forward a year when Harry Warden, the sole survivor, wakes up.
from his coma.
It's been a full year since the accident, and boom, bang, boom, he
Boy,
kills
is he
everyone
grumpy.
in the hospital.
He is grumpy. He didn't get his coffee, I guess, after sleeping a year.
When the police show up, there's like half bodies laying everywhere.
He just must have went berserk.
Upper torsos over here and legs over there. It's a mess. Meanwhile, there's a party in the old mine shaft. I've waited for years to say that.
That sounds like something out of a cartoon. But there is, and
Tom, the mine owner's son, is nervous about going inside because he remembers what happened a year ago.
but he reluctantly joins in the other kids in their partying, and Harry Warden shows up.
Tom's girlfriend almost immediately gets separated from the group and watches a guy get his eye stabbed out in glorious 3D action.
It would have been.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have popped right out at you.
And the killer chases her, and she trips over a few other bodies on the way out. What was a party is now a pile of bodies. She watches as another party goer gets a pickaxe to the face, and another gets a shovel through the face. That shovel one had to be my favorite of the movie.
It was.
Yeah,
that was the
good.
best death. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so this girl and her 2 friends get away. And the sheriff shows up and saves Tom from the killer. The killer is about to impale Tom on an axe, but he gets shot 2 or 3 times from the sheriff.
And runs off down the shaft.
Yeah, he does get shot,
It's
but he
not
runs
clear
down the
that he
mine
got killed.
shaft.
Mm-hmm.
And now we jump forward 10 years later. This is our second long time jump.
And all this happens at the very beginning of the movie. It's a
We're
very
about 15 minutes
fast-paced-
in at this point.
Oh, even that? Was it even 15?
It was, yeah. At this
Okay.
point, we probably ought to stop with the spoilers.
Stop with the spoilers now.
This is
but
all
really,
introductory material.
so much happens and so fast at the beginning. I think we're okay so far, spoiler-wise.
Yeah, after the 10 years, we find that Sarah and Axel, 2 of the survivors, have gotten married. And the now sheriff, Axel, is having an affair with Megan, who works at the grocery store with Sarah, and is pregnant with his child. The pregnancy never comes up again. That's
Doesn't?
another loose
Yeah,
thread.
loose end.
And Tom has come back to town, and he's preparing to sell the mine.
He's
and
the
he's got some
senior,
kind of
stockholder.
PTSD. He's taking pills.
Understandably, from going through that, but it's been 10 years. Like, come on, you're still taking medication for it, really? But terrible things can leave a lasting impact, and he seems to be a little traumatized still. He's going to sell the mine and be rid of it, and the town that was kind of a bad script point, I thought too, because the town is acting like, oh, it's going to kill the town. You're selling the mine. Well, it's a thriving business. The new owners will still...
Yeah, they were acting like he was going to shut down the mine.
No, he's going to
That's not the
sell
way
it to
that
new
works.
owners. He just wanted to be out of the business.
Okay, so a couple of interesting things, just individual scenes from the movie. At one point, there's a couple at a motel. Without going into too much detail, let's say they're making a porno, and the killer gets the man with a pick through the head. The girl and the motel clerk get the pick next. And this scene is just weird.
It is.
The trivia I read says the girl was running around the parking lot wearing a towel through the scene.
A sheet. But it kept getting tangled up and she kept dropping it.
It was written to be her running around in a sheet or a towel, covering herself up.
And at her request, the actress's request, she said, I just want to do it nude. And so she does.
Every take they took, she accidentally dropped this sheet. So they ended up just making it a nude scene.
And they don't show full frontal female nudity, but...
Yeah, they do.
They do?
Yeah, a couple of times.
Oh, okay.
She's standing there with her gun, and yeah, you see all that.
Oh, I thought that was in shadow.
Well, it was dark,
okay,
but it wasn't that dark.
Yeah.
But it just seemed kind of wildly out of place in this movie.
And funny. Darkly funny.
Okay, so one of the interesting aspects of this movie is that it's sort of a whodunit. It could be that Harry Warden, the guy from 10 years ago, is still around and killing these people.
Yeah, that's unclear that they ever actually killed him.
The sheriff has a motive to be doing it.
There's a couple old guys.
The old
from
guy
town.
who runs the mine could be doing it.
There's
the
an
old
angry
sheriff
old
could do
employee,
it.
a couple angry old workers. There's a deputy. There's even a couple women that maybe, and they're very good at keeping it going.
Everyone acts a little bit suspiciously. Some of the actors are known for being villainous occasionally,
And
and
gradually, some people get killed off, and you realize, well, they're probably no longer a suspect.
that's not always a thing either. Sometimes they fake it.
Right up to the end, it's really good at keeping you guessing and not knowing for sure who's doing it, who done it.
And even at the end, you're not sure if the killer is really guilty of being a killer or if this person's been possessed by the original. There's kind of an effect
implication
going on in the final scene that makes it look like that might be the case. We don't know.
We don't know. But this is one I recommend very highly.
This was better than I expected. I was thinking it would not be much, and it was pretty good.
Better than Valentine for sure.
I think without the whodunit aspect, if you get spoiled as to whodunit, it's not going to be the very good movie.
Mm-hmm. So we're not going to spoil it.
No, we're not going to tell you who did it.
Yeah, it'll keep you guessing.
One of the interesting little things that I noticed with this one, every time the killer would kill someone, he'd put Halloween candy on their lap, and above them he'd write...
Valentine's. That's Valentine, not Halloween candy.
Well, it should be Halloween candy. Okay, when he kills him, he gives him one of those hearts full of chocolate candy. And above that, he writes, "Be mine forever." And about halfway through the movie, I realized it's mine, M-I-N-E, because he's a miner.
Because he's a miner, yeah. And
might be coincident, might not.
And that's why you really have no idea who it is, too, because it's a full
gas
It's
mask,
full
mining
coveralls,
suit. Yeah.
mining mask.
Could be a man in there, could be a woman,
Yeah,
could
it
be a
really
ghost.
could be
We don't
anybody.
know.
Yeah, there's no clues early.
I go 8 out of 10 on this one.
I think I would too.
Okay.
Yeah.
In plain old 2D. I didn't see it in 3D and
Maybe if it was in 3D, we'd give it a 9.
or less. Sometimes those are just distracting. Well, the sun's starting to come up, so we're going to have to get going. The drive-in is closing down for the weekend.
Not again.
Yeah, it's got to end sometime. We hope you got your fill of candy and blood this episode. Stop in during the week at www.horrorbulletin.com for news and horror updates, to comment on this podcast, or to contact us. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, or Intune Radio, and leave a review if you'd like.
And check out the Twitter feed at Horror Bulletin.
That Twitter feed has a lot going on all the time.
It usually does.
Okay, well, I'm Brian.
I'm Kevin.
We'll see you next week.
See ya.